Hello viewers, welcome once again to today's lesson. This is the Solution Space, the platform where mathematics is made easy and simple for everyone to understand and enjoy. In this video, I want us to continue with the indices that I started with you in the previous videos. In the previous videos, we started learning about indices where I handled the multiplication law of indices and also the division law of indices, and we solved some examples on it as well. We solved a lot of examples on it, and I hope you all understood it and you enjoyed the lesson as well. So this is a continuation to handle another subtopic with you under the indices. Okay, so I want to treat another subtopic under the indices in this video, and that is exponential equations. Okay, as you can see from the board, I've written exponential equation on the board. So that is what we are going to learn for today. And before we go ahead and tackle today's lesson, I will advise that you watch the previous videos that I've done on the indices, okay, because we are going to apply the knowledge in those videos here. Okay, so please do well to watch the previous videos that I've done on the indices from the scratch, okay, so that you get the necessary foundation and the understanding that you need to be able to handle this session. As I said, we are going to apply the knowledge that we've gotten from those videos here. Okay, so without your knowledge on the previous things that we've done, you might find it difficult handling this session. Okay, so just watch the previous videos and get the foundation and the understanding that you need. Then handling this session will be very simple and easy for you. And please don't forget to like the videos and also share them after watching them. Okay, so let's go ahead and handle today's session. Okay, that is the exponential equation. And when they say exponential equation, the simplest way to understand is it's just an equation that contains indices. Okay, so when you hear about exponential equation, it just means equation that contains indices. Okay, so that is what you need to know about exponential equation, and it's very simple, not difficult at all. Okay, so before we go ahead, you can see that I have some examples on the board that I want to solve with you. But before we go ahead and solve those examples, there are some laws that I have to treat with you under the indices. Okay, when we started, I explained to you that we have different laws under indices that help us to be able to solve questions. Okay, and we treated only two in the previous videos. That is the multiplication law of indices and also the division law of indices. So for us to be able to handle this exponential equation, it's necessary I teach you the other laws as well. Okay, because we are going to apply that knowledge here. Okay, because without your knowledge on those laws that I'm about to teach you, you cannot solve questions under exponential equation. Okay, so I'm going to teach you those laws, then we will apply the knowledge of it to handle these questions. Okay, so let's go ahead. So one of those laws says that when I have a to the power m, okay, so a to the power m all being multiplied by another power, okay, like this. So I have a to the power m being multiplied by another power again. Please, are you following? It's nothing difficult, and this is just one of the laws that will help us to be able to solve questions under exponential equation. So just follow closely, and it's very simple. Okay, so the law says that having a to the power m all being raised to the power again. Okay, then to simplify this one, this power n, now I've explained in the previous videos that this is called the base, this is called the power. Okay, so I hope you remember. So it's the same thing we are building on. Okay, so this is the base, this is the power. Okay, so having a to the power m all being raised to another power. Okay, now to simplify that one, the law says that this power which is outside this bracket will just multiply the power which is inside the bracket. Okay, and that is how you simplify it. So having a to the power m all raised to the power n okay, it is going to be a to the power m times n. Okay, as I've explained, to simplify this one, this power n which is here will multiply the power n that is in the bracket, and that is how to simplify this one. Okay, so again, let me go over one more time. The law says that when you have a to the power n, all being raised to the power, again, another power, okay, to simplify it, this power outside the bracket will multiply the power inside the bracket. Okay, so it's going to be a to the power m times n. Okay, and that is how you simplify it. Now let's go ahead and simplify further, and this one is going to be a to the power mn, because m times n is mn. So this is your final answer for simplifying what is here. Okay, so that is the law that you need to have in mind. Okay, so let me take some examples on it before we move on to the next law. Okay, so I can take some examples from here. So let's say I have, let's say, a 2 to the power 3 all raised to the power 2. Okay, so you can see I've written an example here. I have 2 to the power 3 all being raised to the power 2. Okay, so the law says that if we have something like this, to simplify, this power outside the bracket, it will multiply the power inside the bracket. Okay, so this 2 to the power 3 all being squared, okay, or being raised to the power 2. It means, to simplify it, this power 2 will multiply the power 3 which is in the bracket. Okay, so let's go ahead and simplify. So it's going to be 2 to the power 3 times 2, and that is going to be 2 to the power 6, because 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so let me write it so that you can see. Okay, so this is going to be 2 to the power 6, and that is your answer. Okay, please hope the explanation is clear enough and you understand what I'm treating. Okay, so it's not difficult, we are just applying what the law is saying. Okay, so having 2 to the power 3 all to the power 2, okay, to simplify it, it says that this power 2 which is outside the bracket will multiply the power inside the bracket. Okay, so it's going to be 2 to the power 3 times 2, and that is going to be 2 to the power 6. Okay, let me take another example and let's see how it's going to be like. Okay, so let me clean this one from here and let's take another example. But don't forget this law. This is the law that we are applying. Okay, so it says that having a to the power m all raised to the power n, to simplify it, it is just a multiplication of the power outside the bracket by the power inside the bracket. So it's going to be a to the power m times n, which gives us a to the power mn. Okay, so that's the law that we are applying to solve the questions that I'm putting on the board. So let's try another example. Okay, so let's say I have a 5 to the power 3 all to the power 3 again. Okay, so let's apply the law. So to simplify this one, it's going to be 5 to the power, this power 3 will multiply this power 3 which is in the bracket. So it's going to be 5 to the power 3 times 3, and that is going to be 5 to the power 9. Okay, and this is your final answer. Okay, so let me write it well, okay, so that you can see it. Okay, so now it's going to be 5 to the power 3 times 3, okay, which is going to give us 5 to the power 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, please hope you understand. Okay, so now the law says that having something like this, all that you need to do to simplify it is that the power outside the bracket will multiply the power inside the bracket. Okay, so it's going to be 5 to the power 3 times 3, and which is going to be 5 to the power 9, because 3 times 3 is 9, and this is your answer. Okay, so this is the law that you have to take note, because we are going to apply that knowledge on handling the exponential equation. Okay, so I hope the explanation is clear enough and you understood it as well. So let's move ahead and handle the next law, okay, which will help us solve questions under the exponential equations. Okay, so I'm going to clean this one from here, then I will show you the next law. Okay, now the next law says that, okay, if you have a to the power n equals to a to the power n. You can see this is an equation, okay, so because it contains an equal sign. Okay, so having something like this, the law says that when we have the basis to be the same, okay, and of course it's an equation, okay, as you can see, okay, it's only when it has an equation in it like this, that is when this law holds. Okay, so take note of it. Okay, so having a to the power n equals a to the power n. Okay, the law says that having the basis to be the same, it means we can equate the powers, because having the basis to be the same, then it means the powers too are also the same, so we can equate the powers. Okay, so you can see the base here is a and the base here is also a, so it means the bases are the same. So for that matter, the law says that we can equate the powers, so it's going to be m equals to n. Okay, please hope you are following. It's not difficult. The law says that if I have a to the power n equals a to the power n, it says that because this base is the same as this base, you can see the bases are the same. Okay, so it means that the powers too are also the same when it's an equation like this. So having a to the power n equals to a to the power n, the law says that because the bases are the same, we can equate the powers, okay, as well. So our m, the power n here equals to the power n, which is here, okay, only when the bases are the same and also there's an equal sign. Okay, so that is the next law that you have to take note of. Okay, so let me pick some examples on this and let's see how it goes. So assuming you'll be given, let's say 2 to the power s equals to 2 to the power 1. Okay, so I have 2 to the power s equals to 2 to the power 1. Okay, now let's apply the law. You can see that the bases are the same. I have 2 here, I have 2 here, so the bases are the same. For that matter, the powers are also the same, so it means we can equate the powers. Okay, so having 2 to the power s equals 2 to the power 1, you can see the base here is equal to the base here, so it means the powers too are the same, so we can equate the powers, so it means our s equals to 1. Okay, so that is the answer for solving the equation that is on the board. Okay, please hope you are following and you get the understanding. Okay, let me take another example on this. Okay, so let me clean this one and take another example and use it to explain it to you. So let's say I have a 3 to the power y equals to 3 to the power 4. Okay, now you can see from here that we are applying this law, okay, which says that if the bases are the same and it's an equation like this, having the bases to be the same, all that we have to do is to equate the powers. Okay, so having the base here to be 3 and the base here also to be 3, it means we can equate the powers. So it means my y equals to 4. Okay, and this is the answer for solving the equation that is on the board. As simple as that, very simple, not difficult at all. So these are the other 2 laws that you need to know about indices, okay, which is going to help us solve questions under the exponential equations. Okay, and I've already started with some examples with you. Okay, and I hope you are getting the understanding. Okay, so now keep those 2 laws that I've showed you right now in mind, okay, because it's going to help us to be able to solve questions under the exponential equation. Okay, so let's go ahead and tackle the example 1 that I have on the board. I hope you have a good understanding about it, so we can proceed. So let's proceed by solving the example that I have on the board. That is example 1. Okay, so let me clean this from here and let's start with the example 1 on the board. Okay, so now let me write my solution and let's do it together. So the A, I have the example 1 says that solve the following equations. Okay, so A, it says 2 to the power s plus 1 equals 2 to the power 2. Okay, so let's do it together. So I have 2 to the power s plus 1 equals 2 to the power 2. Okay, now we are going to apply that law which says that when we have the bases to be the same and it's an equation like this, of this nature, all that we have to do is to equate the powers, okay, only when the bases are the same and it's an equation of this nature. So all that we need to do to solve for the value of s in this one is to equate the powers, because I have the 2 here, okay, you can see this base is 2 and this base is also 2. So having the same basis, it means the powers are also the same, so we can equate the powers. Okay, that's what we need to do to be able to solve this exponential equation. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one. So again, you can see that the bases are the same, so it means we can equate the powers. So it means the power that I have here is s plus 1 equals the power that I have here, which is 2. Okay, and from here, this is a simple linear equation to solve. You just solve for the value for s. So my s will be equal to, the 2 is there, then this positive one will cross the equal sign to go and join the 2, which is there. But you know that when anything crosses the equal sign, the sign it has changes. Okay, so this positive one, when it crosses the equal sign, come here, becomes -1. Okay, we've done this under the linear equation, so we are applying the same knowledge here. Okay, so now let's simplify further. So it means my s equals to 2 minus 1 is 1, so my s equals to 1. Okay, so this is the answer for solving the exponential equation on the board. Okay, so I hope you understood it, and it's very simple, not difficult. If only you follow the explanation that I'm giving, you realize that this is very simple and straightforward, nothing difficult about it. So my s is equal to 1 for solving the exponential equation on the board. Please, with the same understanding and knowledge, let's handle the example B, okay, as well. So the B, it says 2 to the power 2s equals to 8. Okay, now we are going to apply the law of indices that I just showed you, okay, which says that we have to make sure that the bases are the same, then we can equate the powers. Okay, so now you can check this one. It's 2 to the power 2s equals to 8. Okay, now until the bases are the same, you cannot equate the powers. So it means that this 8, we need to change it so that it will look like 2 to the power something. Okay, because as we learn from the law, it says that until the bases are the same, we cannot equate powers. So the bases have to be the same before we can equate the powers, okay, when it's an equation of this nature. Okay, let me remind you of the law. The law says that if I have a to the power n equals to a to the power n, having this base to be as the same as this base, then it means the powers also are the same. We can equate the powers, which means my m equals to n. Okay, so for us to solve this one, we have to make sure that they have the same base. Here is 2, but here is 8. So it means this 8, we need to make sure it look like 2 to the power something, okay, so that we'll have the same base as this 2, then we can equate the powers. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So now it means that you have to be aware of how to express numbers as product of prime factors, okay, because writing this 8 as 2 to the power something is the same as you expressing the 8 as product of prime factors or as product of prime numbers, which I've already taught you in the previous videos. I've taught on that, so please just watch the videos on that topic and you will get the understanding. Okay, so we are going to write this 8 as 2 to the power something. In other words, the 8, we are going to express it as product of prime numbers, okay, so that to get the same base as these 2, then we can equate the powers. Okay, now let's go ahead, let me write my solution and let's do it together. So I have 2 to the power 2s equals to 8. So I have to make sure the bases are the same before we can equate the powers. So let me repeat my 2 to the power 2s, which is here, equal to, now this 8, I have to write it as 2 to the power something, and that is going to be 2 to the power 3, okay, because 2 to the power 3 gives you 8. 2 to the power 3 means 2 is multiplying itself 3 times, which is 2 times 2 times another 2, and that gives you 8. Okay, so the 8, we can write it in exponent form, and that is 2 to the power 3. Okay, so now you can see that we have the same basis. Okay, so we've done a good job. Okay, so having the same basis now, it means that we can equate the powers. Okay, so it means my 2s here equals to 3. Okay, please hope you agree with me up to this point. So 2s equals to 3 because we have the same base. Now it means we can equate the powers. Okay, now this is very simple to solve. You just solve for your value of s in this equation. Okay, so let me continue from here. So I have 2s equals to 3. Okay, so to get my value for s, okay, I just have to divide through by the coefficient of s, which is the 2. Okay, and let me write it in a place where you see it well. Okay, so I have 2s equals to 3. Okay, so this is a continuation. So 2s equals to 3. I'm continuing from here. Okay, now we need to solve for s. And how do we solve for s? We just divide through by the coefficient of s, which is the 2. Okay, so I divide here by 2, then I divide here also by 2, so that this and this can cancel, and then I have my s equals to 3 over 2, and this is my final answer for solving the exponential equation on the board. So this is how to handle exponential equation. Hope you understood the lesson. Okay, the explanation, I hope it's clear enough and you understood what we just did. So I'll come your way again in another video for us to solve more examples on this, and please don't forget to like the videos and also share them as well. See you again in another video whilst we solve more questions on this. Bye bye.